We'll open the meeting of November 12th. Before I begin the meeting, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for Lawrence T. Gusky. Since our last meeting, Mr. Gusky passed. He was a former sailor of weights in the community, so I ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. And also, before we start, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the veterans who served, past and present. Yesterday was Veterans Day. We did have a good turnout at the Veterans Day memorials yesterday. And on behalf of the Board of Selectmen in the town of Oxford, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your service. With that, the first item on the agenda is the Oxford Traffic Control and Guide Sign Policy. Sean Duval.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was before this board in September, I believe it was, September 10th. And I had presented the traffic control and guide policy. Some months previous to that, the Board of Selectmen asked for me to provide for its review a policy regarding traffic control and guide signs in the town of Oxford. So I presented that on September 10th, and we had some discussion and asked for additional input from the board if there was any, and asking for a direction of the board on which direction to go with that policy. So I'd be happy to answer any
Okay.
questions that you might have since then.
We all have had access to all the material that Sean has put together, and we discussed it at length at the last meeting that Sean was present to explain. Any board members have any questions or concerns regarding the policy? Yep.
Yeah, Sean, I don't have any questions, 'cause I thought it was well thought out, well put together. It takes a proactive approach to our sign problem we have in town. I think it's well done, and I support it 100%. I realize, this being the case, the Board of Selectmen will still have final say in any sign that goes up, and but you know, the reason why we're doing this is because we have a lot of signs in town. The maintenance costs are through the roof. We need to do something. I know sometimes it becomes a political football between what we should do, you know, economically, you know, what we should do for safety reasons, but I think we definitely need to take a more conservative approach as to when we put signs up, and I do believe that this policy addresses all those concerns, so I'm very pleased with it, and thank you for your work on it.
Any other comments?
You have
Yep.
a question for Sean?
Go ahead.
The town dump, how much does that cost the town?
When you say town dump, do you mean the Rocky Hill Road compost facility there?
No, we have twice a year.
Oh, twice a year? That's done essentially free of charge. The Oxford Transfer Station is part of the host agreement with the town of Oxford, hosts that twice a year, every year.
But don't your employees get double time or overtime for that?
The DPW employees assigned to that facility during those drop-off weekends do get overtime, and that is typically paid for from the proceeds that we get back from the Oxford Transfer Station as part of that community host agreement. So there are no tax dollars in
Correct.
play when it comes
They,
to the,
part of their it was more of an obligation of the regulations, the DEP regulations on transfer stations, that they enter into a host community agreement. They pay us a certain amount per ton that they take there, that they handle. and then that goes into account to be used, and the way they establish, the way they presented it is to be used for solid waste matters. So we got the agreement with them to do the bulk item days. We were spending, I think, at least $30,000 a year, if not more, in the old days when we would hire people to haul it away. Now people drive up and dump it at site. That's great.
Thank you.
I have a question. Back to the sign issue. The only thing that kind of, with your procedure, I agree with Selectman Vos, it's great, did a great job and everything, but should there be part of it that, as far as a timeline on how we evaluate, check out signs? Because like you've shown us various signs, situations in here that are outdated, not useful because they're embedded in trees and stuff like that. I just didn't know if, should that have been something that, was put into the policy that, once a year or twice a year, for a day or whatever, you have someone that's going around checking out street signs or whatever? Or am I like,
No,
is that something that would be hard to pinpoint?
No, it wouldn't be hard to pinpoint. In fact, it would be helpful if the policy enabled the DPW to remove signs that were, for obvious reasons, no longer needed, like the signs you just referenced, like embedded "Go Children Slow" signs in
Right.
trees that have been up for 40 years, and the children that once lived there are long gone. If the policy gave that authority to the DPW, I think it would make it a lot more streamlined to remove some of these signs.
So how would we go about doing that? I mean, to me, this is something that should be done on a, regular basis, yearly or something, that, certain signs that are just dilapidated type of thing, do we either replace them or get rid of them, if they're not used, that type of thing. I would like to see something as part of the policy that, we allow you to do that. I don't know, again, how you would put that in there, but I think it's important, because there are signs that, what's the sense of having them, you can't see them, they're not visible anymore, or they're so worn down or whatever. I would think that would be a smart move.
It's a matter of adding a couple of paragraphs to the
Okay.
policy. It's not hard to do. I can get that to the board for its next meeting.
On
Jared?
on number 6, isn't that what that is pertaining to? The Oxford DPW reserves the right to remove signs.
I could perhaps embellish that language a little bit.
Well, isn't
Make
that
sure
what-
it's clear. Yeah, that was
That
the
is-
spirit, yeah,
So that's pretty much already in.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'd like to see it, on a regular basis and, going around town or whatever. I don't know how you would do that, during your sweeping times or something like that, somehow have a way of noticing that certain signs are just no longer needed, so why do we have that sign sitting up there if it's no longer needed, that type of thing?
I would suggest that we split the town into fourths. That's sort of how we
Okay,
manage the town on a DPW basis when it comes through storm response and things like that. So, and it divides along Charlton Street, Sutton Avenue, and Main Street. So it becomes 4 quadrants if you take the center of town here. And we would evaluate each quarter, 1 quarter per year, say.
that
Go-
sounds good.
Yeah, sweep
Okay.
that quarter and remove signs that are no longer needed.
I just think that would be, a viable way of, just doing a regular inventory too, as far as signs, so, thank you. I'd be in favor of adding that.
Any other comments or questions
Just getting
regarding the
back to,
signs?
the comments from Mr. Lamarche, Mr. Mahota. Isn't that something you were planning on doing between last meeting and this meeting? You were gonna start doing that and take
Yes.
inventory in those, and how far along have you?
I have an inventory here. It's not refined, but it's basically the sign count by type. for the town as part of the inventory that we did. And I was anticipating that this question would come up, and just the slow children at play signs, those are 60 signs, I'm sorry, 70 signs there, just those two types. That's not counting the Go Children Slow and the Children Go Slow and children playing and all of these other type of signs. There are many signs, not just the children signs. There are many signs that have long lived past their usefulness.
I just want to add a couple of comments. First of all, Sean, I think you put a lot of time and a lot of effort into getting this thing together, and I think you ought to be congratulated for the amount of work that you and your staff put into this. We have had problems with signage in this town for many years, and I think that's why the board took such a positive approach, getting you to do something about it to help us regulate the amount of signs we have. And this seems to do what we were looking to do. My only concern is I would not want to see this held in black and white. Okay, I think there are a lot of instances where the board will take action relative to a request based on what we feel is the need for a specific neighborhood. And you've seen that happen, and I've mentioned it before. You've seen it happen in the Locust Street area, Walnut Street area with the stop signs. Okay, and you strongly recommended against it based on the federal information that you have before you. But yet the board voted not to go along with that. I think we have to have that flexibility, because I think our first priority is the residents of the community and what we deem and what they deem is safe for their area. So I don't know how we're going to blend that into things here, but I think the board ought to have that prerogative.
Yeah, and in many ways, I would agree with you on that. And in fact, this policy still calls for a selectman to hold a public hearing for a sign request.
Okay.
So the final decision still is with the road commissioners in the town of Oxford being the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
So this
So
decision still lies
when
with
it
the
comes to
board.
a situation like that, it would ultimately, we will not be held to the policy as the word.
Right.
That's, okay, that makes me feel better. That was my only concern.
I think it's more of a guideline.
Yes,
What it is.
exactly.
You know, for installation of signs and removal and what type of signs, things like that, right?
Okay, then, if there are no further comments, I'm going to ask the board to vote to accept as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion relative to the policy or guidelines?
Do we want to make the vote, Mr. Chairman, contingent on the addition of the language that was discussed tonight about
Yes,
timelines and doing a
Yes.
survey?
yes, we will include that
Okay.
as part of the motion. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, it's unanimous. Okay, we have you here for another reason as well, Sean, and that's to discuss Sutton Avenue and Charlton Street. And I think we probably should start with Sutton Avenue because that is really a safety concern. That's where most of the town's traffic goes through. So I'm glad to see that the chief's here too, because I'm sure that he has some concerns and some information regarding accidents and what have you that have occurred there.
Right.
So with that being said, you might want to just give the board an overview. A couple of members weren't here when you presented a report. Was this from the state? Was that the report you got from the state?
Well, it was a report that I did,
That you did, but it was approved by the state?
approved by the state.
Okay.
That's correct.
If you could just go over that with the board members, it will kind of update us that recall you coming in and discussing it, and of course, we have the new members that should be aware of it.
Right, so, this topic of discussion goes back a long time. I've been with the town now for just about 7 years, and we were discussing this when I first started about safety improvements for Sutton Avenue, and that's the section between Main Street and 395 or Lynn Street, the Robbins Garden Center area. And as this board recalls, and most folks at home recall, we've done several, I would guess would call experiments out there to try to enhance safety. We put in pylons, we took out pylons, we then put in the concrete jersey barriers that you see there today to prohibit left turns out of Dunkin' Donuts. And back shortly after those concrete barriers were installed, we'd heard from, unofficially from Mass DOT and from the Mass State Police, that they weren't really in favor of those barriers and asked for us to look for an alternative for safety improvements that didn't include barriers. And so we did quite a bit of work on studying the accident types on that corridor. We looked at different engineering alternatives to try to fix that section. We talked about dividing Sutton Avenue completely. Looked at various other measures. We looked at putting in a frontage road alongside, parallel to Sutton Avenue, to service the businesses. Looked at all kinds of alternatives, and nothing really stuck. Nothing was quite right. Nothing really met with the design guidelines as we would like them to have met. And so, in researching it further and in consulting with Mass DOT District 3, we kind of hatched this idea of putting in a shared left turn lane, also known as a two-way left turn lane. And up on the screen, you'll see the kind of a design drawing kind of dropped in on a Google map. And if I can start from left to right. So to the left of the screen is the direction towards the center of town, towards Main Street and towards Charlton. To the right of the screen is out towards Sutton, out towards 395. So we can go back to the left. If we go from left to right, going from the center of town, going outbound towards 395, it starts with a taper here, which is essentially yellow paint that tapers the drive lane down to one lane, where currently it is two lanes. And the lane number 2 here, this would be the eastbound side, essentially becomes a shared left turn lane, two-way left turn lane, where folks that want to, say, turn into Dunkin' Donuts, this is the Dunkin' Donuts driveway here, if they're coming into Oxford Center, could get into the left turn lane, wait for their time to cross oncoming traffic and drive in. Equally, if we move eastbound, if somebody, say, wanted to turn into the mobile honey farms and they're heading eastbound, they could hop into this shared left turn lane here, wait for their time, and then turn across and go in. Equally, it makes it safer if folks want to come out of mobile honey farms. They can use this left turn lane to make their timing better to cross these two lanes of traffic, and to better negotiate this lane of traffic as well. So it accommodates all users of the roadway, accommodates the left turn movements in and out of the businesses on each side of the roadway. It enhances safety, and in my opinion is a more safer alternative out there than what currently exists. We do have the concrete barriers that live about in this area right here, and those that perhaps enhance some safety in that section for cars turning left out of Dunkin' Donuts. But it hasn't been the silver bullet that's stopped all accidents. I last presented this concept for a two-way left turn lane in April of 2011. And since that time, there have been 54 accidents, relevant accidents on Sutton Avenue between Main Street and Lynn Street. And if I can go to my notes here. 69% of those 54 accidents were angle accidents, which are essentially accidents created by cars turning into and out of traffic to access businesses and the side streets there, Park Street, Walcott Street, and Lynn Street. 31% were rear end and sideswipe accidents. Interestingly, in front of Dunkin' Donuts, of the 37 angle accidents, 8 were right in front of Dunkin' Donuts with the barriers in place. So perhaps there would have been more if we didn't have the barriers, but clearly what's there now is not working to the degree that I think this board and folks at home would like to see. The biggest accident area is right here, turns in and out of McDonald's. There were 11 angle accidents since 2011 in and out of McDonald's. Followed closely by Dunkin' Donuts and Honey Farms, each with 8. So clearly safety needs to be enhanced. And in my opinion, a two-way left turn lane would increase the safety there. It's not going to solve every problem every time, everywhere. We know that there's just no fixing some stupidity sometime on the part of drivers just doing some things that they probably shouldn't do. But I do think it will enhance safety, and I do think that the number of accidents will be decreased because it allows basically a protected lane to make a left-hand turn. So the rear end accident scenario would be greatly decreased. The left turn in and out of businesses would be greatly decreased because there's less conflict. There's one less lane to negotiate. And especially with the eastbound traffic being regulated by the light, by the traffic control signal at the center of town, and it being only one lane there, it makes it much safer to turn in and out of Dunkin' Donuts. And I know that was a point of concern for the selectmen.
Questions? Yes, Mr. Lamont.
Well, Sean, I've said this before when you first presented, is that I drive up in New Hampshire a lot. They have a lot of these, and they work very well. The big thing, you got a good sight distance on that stretch of lane, so, turning in and out works. And I think it would be a great idea. Coming out of town, going down, the way people zip down those 2 lanes is unbelievable. And I think this would have a tendency to slow them down because you only got the 1 lane. And so I'm all for this. I think it's a great report and good job. Thank you.
The only thing that I can see is that people zip all the time. And a lot of cars doing it, Dunkin' Donuts, going the streets. And I think you might have more rear end accidents if you take a lane off.
I don't know if there'd be more. I don't know if there'd be more. You're talking about folks that slow down to turn
Yes.
into, say, Dunkin' Donuts. A car coming up from behind may run into the back of the car, slowing to turn into Dunkin' Donuts. That is certainly a concern, and could happen. There's no question about it.
But that happens now, Sean.
It happens now. It happens
I
now.
think this right now the problem is you got 2 lanes. So when this person slows down, this guy moves over into here. So you got another lane to maneuver, and that's where you probably get a lot of rear end accidents. Where this situation, you've got that 1 lane to travel in, and if that person slows down, unless you're turning, you have nowhere to go. So you have to slow down. It really does. Like I said, I know in New Hampshire, I drive it a lot. It makes you slow down because you have no other lane. You're not allowed in that lane unless you are turning, so it makes the general public slow down in that area. And like I know in the Laconia area, it's very, very busy up there, and I travel that a lot. And the traffic just has to go slow because that's what happens, is that somebody's slowing down, they're going to maneuver. And I think that's where I think it would help rather than hurt that situation.
Mr. Vos?
Yeah, I do like this idea. I've seen it work, similar to Mr. LaMarche. I travel all over New England, and these are effective. The only thing that scares me a little bit, Sean, is in removing those barriers in front of Dunkin' Donuts. the problem I see with this road is twofold: speed and sight distance. You're coming down, people tend to, they hit Sutton Avenue for some reason, they just once they get off those tracks, it's go time. And now you're gonna have a car taking a left into Dunkin' Donuts, coming down that hill, and potentially a car that, in that left lane, blocking the sight of the car going east from the so they can't see the car coming into Dunkin' Donuts, taking that left in there. So I'm in favor of this, but I don't think you should pull those barriers down in front of Dunkin' Donuts. I know it's a tough thing. It hurts their business a little bit, but I think that allowing them to continue to turn left in there with those cars coming, if that left-hand lane maybe extended further west, if it was able to do that, that would help some. But I think just the cars, once they get over that hill, they're just cooking in a car taking a left-hand turn into Dunkin' Donuts with that car coming down. I think that's the recipe for disaster right there.
Right now, cars or vehicles are not prohibited from turning left into Dunkin' Donuts. They're doing it now. And when they're doing it, they're crossing 2 lanes of eastbound traffic, and there are cars coming up behind them in lane number 2 going westbound.
Right now, we got people turning left into Dunkin' Donuts, traveling westbound.
Traveling westbound, they're turning left into Dunkin' Donuts now. And they're having to cross 2 eastbound lanes.
No, and I understand that, I just, to me, that's the most dangerous part of this road.
It probably is, but I would submit that this is safer for cars turning left into Dunkin' Donuts and safer for cars going eastbound.
You really think so, huh?
Because the vehicles turning left into Dunkin' Donuts will be in their own lane, in a left turn lane that's expressly and only used for that purpose.
And I understand that, but you get the other cars that are gonna try, flying by on the right-hand side, and, especially where you're narrowing it down to 1 lane of traffic, and it's just gonna create a vacuum, so to speak, where people are just gonna shoot down there. And I have to believe what you say, because you're doing the traffic study, you're the traffic specialist, you've done all your homework, but from looking at it from my standpoint, I just think it's dangerous. Just because of the sight distance coming over that hill.
Right now, we have 1 lane of traffic from Charlton Street that's
Right.
controlled at the light.
Right.
When everybody else has a red, the right lane, the left lane is for left turn only coming out of Charlton Street. So it's 1 lane of traffic going down. It doesn't divide until about Park Street, just before Park Street,
Just before.
that it
Park
goes
Street.
into 2.
Right over the tracks.
At the tracks,
At the
right.
tracks. So the
tracks.
tracks have a slowing effect. And then, by then, you're at the top of the hill, right? Isn't that the crest? It breaks at Park Street?
Park Street.
I know over the years there's been some real good accidents with people flying over that hill.
Yeah, but see now, Mike, is that because it's a single lane, you're not gonna be able to fly over because you're gonna have cars taking right-hand turns, so that's gonna slow up traffic. I think it's gonna be a slowing effect rather than a
there's no-
speeding effect.
There's no doubt, this will help to slow it. Now, is that part of this, are the speed limits changing on this road? Is the state allowing you to,
No.
no?
Speed limits are not changing. But I do want to highlight the fact that a 2-way left turn lane on this stretch of Sutton Avenue meets all of the guidance for 2-way left turn lanes as put out by the Federal Highway Administration, as put out by AASHTO. It meets every single criteria that was ever put in place for 2-way left turn lanes. This is the purpose, this is the reason for left turn lanes, is when you have through traffic and you have businesses that people want to get in and out of.
There's no doubt, I know they work, I've seen them in action, I just, like I said, that, I beat it to death, I just think people going down a hill, people turning left into Dunkin' Donuts is, very dangerous.
Jared? My only concern is what's the effect that's gonna be on the traffic that's gonna be backing up on, like, the south end of Main Street, that's going to be taking the right onto Sutton Ave, so all the traffic that backs up during the, evenings, like in front of CVS, So now, because that now Sutton Ave is only gonna be one lane the whole way down. Is that gonna? Do you think that's gonna play a big role in how bad that's gonna back up, or?
I don't anticipate there being any problems there, and I say that because the traffic control signal itself controls the amount of traffic that goes through that intersection. An interval of time comes, there's green time, the cars go, and it's basically free flow on Sutton Avenue at that point. I don't anticipate that there would be enough backup, say, going into Dunkin' Donuts that it would back up traffic and gum up the intersection. I would have had more concern if Dunkin' Donuts hadn't done their recent remodel and reconfiguration of their
That
their
solved a
parking
lot
lot.
of your backup problem
Solved a lot of
onto Sutton
problems.
Avenue. Because it's a lot easier to get in, because there's more more space in there to get into. And they also lengthened the queue for the drive-through as well.
Mhm.
And my recollection is that it was, I think more of the accidents were on the west, on the westbound, cutting across to get in, rather than coming out. Do you have the statistics on that?
I don't have them to that detail right
No,
now.
all right.
Is that your question answered, John?
Yeah.
I just want to add my 2 cents to this, because when this came before us before, when you made the presentation, I liked it. Matter of fact, I voted for it. I was in the minority. But I can understand what the previous board did. They were concerned, and their main concern was the Dunkin' Donuts area. But I think that's been somewhat rectified when the guy did his remodeling, okay? This plan, the reason why I liked it when you presented it back then was it's not going to cost us a ton of money to do this. And you know what? It's all lines. It's all painting. If it doesn't work, you put the barrier back and the barrels back. But at least give it a shot. That was my feeling then, and that's my feeling now. I think we ought to give it a shot. I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I think it can work.
I just think that many of the same problems at Dunkin' Donuts are gonna exist. I don't think it's really gonna solve the problem right there. Just don't.
Nothing we can do will solve all of the problems. There will still be accidents there. I think the chief would say the same thing. There will still be accidents no matter what we do there. Our goal is to reduce those number of accidents, and clearly 54 accidents in 2 years is too much.
And you spoke about the speed limit, not be able to change the speed limit. You know what? I've traveled in areas that have this type of setup, and I noticed that the traffic automatically rectifies itself. It'll slow down with that lane in the middle. It automatically does, because you're anticipating somebody getting into that lane. So you're very aware of that. Well, they used to call it a suicide lane. I don't know if they still do. I guess there was a reason for that. But it tends to slow people down, that type of a setup.
So, how are you gonna reconfigure the whole thing? Cause there's a double lane right now over the railroad tracks. Before the railroad, there's 2 lanes. Are you gonna reconfigure the whole thing?
We would do some micro milling of the pavement markings that are there now and simply repaint it.
We're going to be, I'm asking the board tonight to impose the snow ban, the parking ban during snowstorms. And here it is, it's the middle of November. When might you be able to do this if approved?
We would do this in the springtime, for sure. This is not the right time to
No,
to paint
because the
lines.
snow is going to
The
cover the
snow.
lines and the,
Exactly.
And then that'll give people a whole, 2 warm seasons, 3 warm seasons to get accustomed to it.
Right.
Excellent.
And I should also point out, be part of the record, that Mass DOT was consulted recently on this. A business owner reached out to Senator Moore's office to see if he could talk to Mass DOT and see if Mass DOT could make any safety improvements on Sutton Avenue, not knowing that it was under local jurisdiction. And so Senator Moore did reach out to Mass DOT, and Mass DOT wrote a letter back saying that the town had submitted a plan in 2011 that met with DOT's approval, and basically urged the town to reconsider that proposal back in 2011, and that proposal was for the left turn lane. So this is in agreement at Mass DOT that this will enhance the safety of that corridor.
Yes.
I also have a question. If this does get approved, is this a project that would probably have to be done in the evening? Or, I mean, how could you redo this whole thing during the day? I don't see, with the traffic on there the way it is this like a nighttime job that'll probably happen?
It would most likely be a nighttime job. This would be a job that we would put out for bid and have
Oh,
a
okay.
contractor, a painting contractor come in and do the micro milling and do the
Okay.
painting work.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes.
Left lane turns out of Dunkin', that's gonna be allowed.
Right now, there are signs on Dunkin' Donuts property saying, or prohibiting left-hand turns. I don't suggest that we ask Dunkin' Donuts to take those down. I would suggest that we leave them up.
I would say we leave them up and mandate it, I wouldn't, that would,
I agree.
yeah, I don't think we should ever allow
Yeah.
people to turn left out of there.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Any other? Yes, Jared?
What is the main reason for that? If you can turn left out of the building next to it, why not add a Dunkin' Donuts?
Well, I think for one thing, the sight distance coming down and the speed just alone, and the combination of people turning in, and taking a left in, going westbound, with a combination of people going left, yeah. Just basically, having someone taking a left-hand turn going to the west, and then someone taking a right-hand turn going east, I think it just adds to it. I don't really like any turns crossing the median as it is. I just think, allowing someone to cross the line there is just gonna add to the congestion. And I think that it's been found to be somewhat effective after we have done that. Am I correct in saying that?
Mhm.
It's just a mess down there. It really is. I think any turns you can avoid pulling out of Dunkin' Donuts is,
I have no problem with keeping the signs there, but I think Jared raises a very valid point. I mean, you've got a town road, no more than 75 feet away. These people have to go to work, they have to come downtown, they take left turns all the time. School buses, what have you. They take left-hand turns.
yeah, but every situation is different, John. It's not, this situation is much different than any other situation in town. This is a very special situation, just based upon the amount of conversations that we've had regarding this, and the amount of work that's gone into this. This is not Main Street in Oxford. This is this area where we've had hundreds of accidents. That's why this is, we're taking special consideration on this thing. I don't think there should be, I know that since that left-hand turn's been removed, it's gotten much better over there. And we have the jug handle down the other end. It only takes people an extra minute to get down the end and reverse direction. Before we didn't have that. Before Home Depot came in, we didn't have that. So I don't think it's that much of an inconvenience for people to take a right-hand turn and turn around and reverse direction.
God bless you.
I think what we'll find is human behavior being what it is, people will turn left out of Dunkin' Donuts regardless of what sign might be on Dunkin' Donuts property prohibiting a left-hand turn. So if that's gonna happen, let's watch it. Let's see what the accident rate is, let's see what the types of accidents are, and take additional measures there, maybe enforcement measures if need be. But if we find that cars turning out of Dunkin' Donuts turning left, and we find that there are fewer accidents, then maybe we don't have to do anything.
Well, I think the main reason why you don't let them turn out, it's just the amount of cars that go through that drive-through. It's continuous. In the morning, it's just one car after another car. It's not like Walnut Street, or, I mean, excuse me, Walnut Street, Walcott Street or Park Street, or the street down where you have maybe, half a dozen cars in the whole, it's a continuous line. And sometimes you get one guy who barks, fixes his coffee, and then another guy's right behind him honking his horn. Now, all of a sudden, you got 3 or 4 cars trying to cross over at the same time. I think that's the main reason why you do not want a left lane or a left-hand turn out of there. It's just,
But people are doing it.
Oh,
And they're going around the Jersey barriers.
Right.
Which is more of a maneuver, so you're doing a right and then a quick U-turn. This way, they'd have the left turn lane to get into. They cross that one lane of traffic they see coming from over the railroad tracks, get into the left turn lane, and then,
I think what happens, Joe, is people get out there, now they're waiting for the other cars, now they're halfway out there, now they're waiting, now you get another car behind them. All of a sudden, you get 2 cars that are, stopped in the road. It just takes one guy flying down.
These are all valid points, but my feeling is if you don't try it, how can we fix it?
I agree with this plan, I'm just saying, combined with the fact that we're not gonna let people turn left out of Dunkin' Donuts.
Was there a reason why they don't have an entrance on Park Street?
I think it had to do with grade.
Well, it's also zoning where you can't have an entrance to a building that close to an intersection. You can't do it. It has to be a couple 100 feet out or something like that.
Well, can we vote on this and add the stipulation that we ask Dunkin' Donuts to keep the signs, no left turn up?
Or we could just require
Is that
it.
part of their site plan review approval?
I think it was part of the site plan, because I was on planning board back then, and I remember this was, the owner of the property did not want the barriers in front of his property.
Right.
So one of the thoughts of the planning board at the time was like, how about we put a sign up saying everyone go right? And he was in favor of that, from what I remember, and he was much happier with that resolution than barriering off his whole entrance. And that combined with the fact that he has a much larger parking area and the fact that he had greater stacking, eliminated the problem of people stacking on, stacking going east. So, that was the requirement of the site plan to make everyone go eastbound.
I'll make a motion that we approve this plan, to have it done in the spring, and have Dunkin' Donuts keep their signs up saying no left-hand turns.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion that's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries. Okay, now we have Charlton Street.
Yes. Charlton Street is going along. You may have noticed last week we had a drill crew out there doing samples of the earth underneath the asphalt. It's a requirement of Mass DOT that we do that to basically define any ledge, if such ledge should exist. So the borings were done, test pits were also taken, soil samples were taken, those will be sent off to the lab. When that information is completed and submitted as part of our design report, we should be able to submit then 75% plans to the state for review. We had our 25% design public hearing, which is a major milestone that happened in May. And I anticipate that we can get our 75% plans in by the end of this year. So by December 31st,
This year?
2013, this year.
Wow.
We'll get our 75% plans in the door for Mass DOT to review. The next step would be their review, their comments back to us, we'd make those comments, and then we'd go to 100%. And then it's just a matter of programming the funding at the tip, on the tip at the MPO.
It is on the tip list,
It is on the
but
tip.
way
Yeah.
out, right?
But yeah, what's it out at 16 or
think it's
something
on
like that?
16.
Yeah.
But if we have 100% plans in
Right,
front of them, they're
that's the
compelled
key.
to find funding sooner than
If
that.
it's ready, we do changes constantly, amendments where something isn't ready and we slide something, especially something like this. It's only 3 million or right around that, right? That to us. I know it sounds funny to the general public, but when you're talking Mass dot, 3 million is not much. So usually we're talking 20 millions or something.
Sean, from what I recall, when I looked at the plans, there was numerous land takings that were gonna need to take place.
That's correct.
How are we doing with that? Are we?
We can't make any movement on that until we get further along in the design process. Mass DOT simply won't allow us to do that. So once we get at least to 75%, they like to see that, ideally a little bit beyond that, then we can start with the easements that we would require to do some intersection realignments, minor intersection realignments, and do some more roundings on some of the intersections there.
Yeah.
Might we be ready in May to do that, at the May town meeting? Like
I
you
would
did
hope,
for,
I would hope that we could do that in
as you
May.
did for Cummins Road?
Yes, and it all really depends on Mass DOT's schedule on reviewing these plans. Often, we'll get our plans into Mass DOT, and they will take a long time to review. So,
Okay.
And just one more thing. At the intersection of Charlton and Main, how are we gonna handle that one lane into two-lane merge there? Right at Cumberland Farms.
yep.
That's always a problem because people back up on Charlton Street forever, all the way down to Dudley Road. I mean, it's some mornings that, I go up through, Walnut Street and up that way to go around it because it's just so backed up.
Right.
And I think that the big problem is, you have a left-hand turn light and people can't even get to it in time because they're so backed up. And are we gonna be widening that anywhere, or are we gonna be able to maybe push the lane over a little bit to one side where we can get two lanes for a longer period of time?
Right, we are gonna do that. We're gonna have 2 lanes for a longer section of roadway. There's very minimal widening we can do in that location because we're constrained by buildings on either side of the right-of-way. But we will do as much as we can to widen, but we also have to maintain the sidewalk as well. But we will extend the turn lanes further down Charlton Street so that, and I know what you're saying, it's the through traffic that dominates, and so the left traffic gets caught up. So if we lengthen those 2 lanes, hopefully more of the left-hand turning vehicles can get into the left-hand turn lane.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Questions for Sean? We all set? Well, thank you very much for coming in, Sean. I think
Thank you.
we accomplished quite a bit this evening.
Yes, thank you.
I wasn't planning on being here this long, but
Good job.
Oh, look, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we're out of here.
Know what that's about.
Can we get somebody to fix that?
I don't know why it's doing this, unless somebody,
Maybe it
we
needs a
set the
new
clocks
battery.
back, right? We set,
Yeah,
not 2 hours, though.
I think it needs a new battery.
Probably.
All right, next item on the agenda. Class 2 license. No, oh, the chief.
No.
Oh. Thought you
I,
had put the chief on here without me knowing about it.
no.
Class 2 license amendment, Haas Inc. Hey, how you doing? Okay, you're here to modify the license, is that correct?
Correct, for approval for storage of vehicles
Yep.
in the rear of 6 Boulder Parkway.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna be stepping down on this. I have a partner who has a Class 2 license.
Okay. Let the record show that Mr. Vos will not be participating in this. Okay. So basically, what you're looking for is a special permit.
Correct.
You already have the Class 2.
Correct.
Okay. I'm kind of confused because I would have thought we would have done this, when you came in the first time for this.
This was add-on, because I had Mass DOT inspection, and there was vehicles in the back, and I was told that I need a letter from them stating, from the town, that I had approval to store the vehicles back. So I came in front of the planning board to get approval, and then
Okay.
they led me to here.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I mean, I don't see any issue with it. The board members have any concern? Yes, Karen?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hadley is planning to go through the special permit for the storage of unregistered vehicles, which is issued by the board. But what he needs at this time is a letter sent to the Mass DOT Registry of Motor Vehicles, allowing him to store 27 vehicles, right? Until such time as he goes through the process for the special permit, which is a lengthy process because it involves a 20-day appeal period, notification of abutters. and-
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, you already have the vehicles there,
Correct.
so what you need from us is just a letter to the state telling that we are going to issue, or you are in the process of getting a special permit. Does the board have any problem with the special permit before we go any further? I mean, the
No.
location seems perfect. He has the area for this. So I have to know from the board, are we prepared to send a letter to allow him to do this pending our issuance of a special permit?
Yes. Well, I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it? Okay, I'm fine with it. So I would entertain a motion to send a letter to the proper individuals, informing them of the board's action.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Change slides, just push the right arrow. Okay. I don't know if I should be here or not, but I'm here. Up with him.
Okay, we have the MRA multi-sport triathlon discussion here. Okay, you want to open it up?
I'll give a
Okay,
little
go ahead.
introduction. Because of what happened at the Recreation Commission meeting, this is why he's here before you. On 10/9/2013, Mr. Rogan Zensky, I know I'm gonna.
It's not that hard. Rogozinski.
It's not hard for
No
you,
relation,
Joe.
I don't think.
Came before the Recreation Commission because he wanted to run a triathlon in the Carbuncle High School, Middle School area, utilizing the Army Corps of Engineer trails. Because of the large scope of the event, as you will learn, we questioned whether or not permission needed to be granted by the Board of Selectmen in the town. When it was determined that the need needed to come in this direction, he then applied with the Board of Selectmen. And just to give you a quick overview, the town manager called for a tech review with the appropriate department heads, which included the Board of Health, the DPW, the police, the fire, and the Recreation Commission representation, which was me. And it was determined during that tech review on 10/29 that the DPW really had no impact, that the fire department was looking at 7 to 8 possible personnel that needed to be present during this event, as you will learn what it actually entails with boats and RVs and coverage for the trails and Carbuncle Pond, and provide EMT services. The police said that it would have a minimal impact and possibly only need to have 2 police officers on hand for this large event. The Board of Health said that they had no issues with it as long as the permits for the food booths and the applications for the porta potties came forward. And the superintendent of schools, who I talked to today, said that he had no issues with this event. There will be no impact with the public beach at Carbuncle Pond, as you will learn, because the swimming portion of the event will be completed before the beach is open to the general public on June 28th and June 29th, which will be part of the swimming season out at Carbuncle Pond. Multisport would be responsible because there's boating things involved. Multisport would be responsible for bringing in their own lifeguards for the event. And there will be another tech review in February to go over the final details, if permission is granted by the Board of Selectmen. Just one other important factor that we need to bring forward, and that is that it was determined by the town manager that there would be no charge to multisport for the use of the facilities, so that the recreation statute, and that is chapter 21, section 17C of the Mass General Laws, will come into play, so that the town of Oxford would not have any acquired liability during the event, and that's important.
If we rent a facility for recreational purposes, we then accept liability. This way, and the fact that Carbuncle Pond is a great pond, it's over 10 acres, an area. We assess it, by the way, we have it listed as owned by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He does have a right to use it, it's a matter of access over town land to get there. But I understand there'll be, we see later on in the presentation that this organization does contribute to various nonprofit organizations, and I think part of the reason he went to the Recreation Commission was to work with them. Is that correct?
Well, I don't think the Recreation Commission fully understood the full scope of it when you're talking about 500 people. I mean, this isn't a small event, this isn't going to be a very large event, which is, don't think we all fully understood that until he actually came before the Recreation Commission.
Can you go through the presentation?
I can. Good?
Go
I
ahead.
think
All right.
that's what the keyboard's for.
Yeah, we'll scroll through that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you know how to use
I'm
it?
good, yeah,
Okay.
I was schooled on it a second ago. So just a quick introduction, my name is Alex Rogozensky. I own MRA Multisport with my wife. We're a small privately owned company based for coaching and event management based out of Northbridge. We produce over 20 events a year, more endurance events, running, trail running, triathlons, duathlons, those kind of things, both on-road and off-road. A lot of the races that we produce, we also do for the benefit of local charities, right? So our nonprofit organizations. So the Whitten Community Center, the Greendale YMCA up in Worcester, the French River Connection around here. So that's for who MRA is. Xterra. So Xterra is kind of a world-recognized brand as the kind of premier for off-road trails and trail running and triathlon races. In this Xterra series, athletes who compete earn certain points, right, based on how they finish, and they compete within the regions, kind of super regions there from there, and they compete for titles of national and world championships. Kind of like what you see Ironman on TV, right? That's the road version of what we're talking about here. The other major kind of property we're talking about here is Hodges Village Dam, right? So this is it's an extensive trail system. It's really ideal for recreational purposes as well as some of the premier endurance level type of events, right? So for years there's mountain bike races and trail runs going on all within the confines of the park there. So and just the kind of proximity of that trail system with Carbuncle Pond is kind of the marrying of two great resources there, right? And really is a unique venue to kind of host an off-road triathlon like this in the region, right? So we're talking greater Northeast area here, so not just Central Mass, right? So I should have done that one before. So we'll kind of go through the presentation here, and we'll just, at a high level, kind of go over, here's what we're looking at for the event, right? It's the weekend of June 28th and 29th next year. So again, we'll go over some of the high level points, and then we go into some of the finer level as far as each day and kind of each event, how things are broken up. So as I mentioned, it'll be the June 20th, 29th weekend. Some of the key properties involved: Carbuncle Pond. This is where the swimming and kayaking portions would happen, as well as what's called the transition areas. This is where athletes transition from one sport to the next, all consecutively. So they'll swim, come to the transition area, get their mountain bikes, head out on the course, come back to the transition area, get their running shoes on, head out on the trails. Oxford High School, so these are the grounds where a lot of the parking would be, so the finish line would be located, and some of the vendors would be set up as well too for the weekend. The Greenbrier Recreation Area just north there will be for some of the parking as well too. So that was one of the ideas the police chief had, was having that really be the main parking for some of the for the participants. Excuse me, just so we don't really tax out the parking that's at the high school and middle school area there. Also through Greenbrier, that's part of the run course, right? So they'll kind of really just run through that section to kind of connect some of the trail systems that are out there. And the biggest one is really Hodges Village Dam. So there's, we're hitting almost 15 miles of trails throughout that section, both on both sides of the river, east and west there. And there is a map that we can share outside of this presentation that we can share with you guys if you want to see it. But we've reviewed those maps with the Army Corps of Engineers, so they're fully on board, fully supportive of this effort, what we're doing here, and really anxious to hopefully it goes through. So moving on, kind of next level detail there from the lineup. So on Friday afternoon, we'd have kind of the main venue set up. All the confirmed trail markings, all the trails will be marked with temporary markings that are out there, whether they're like almost little sprinkler head flags or arrows on trees or even some caution tape in certain areas, right? So we're really kind of laying out the venue itself, making sure everything's all set up. And then somewhere locally within Oxford here, we'd have what's called packet pickup, right? So this is when participants coming from either around here, coming from out of town, they want to show up a day early, get their bib, get their timing chips, get their little packet of goodies, all those kind of things. Saturday morning is really where most of the events take place. Call it the festival there. So at 8:30 in the morning, and we'd have the registration area open around 6:30, and that's when the transition area would open as well too, so people can start going in there and staging their bikes, staging their shoes, all that kind of stuff. We'd have, starting at 8:30, we'd have our what's called a sprint, triathlon, or a duathlon. So sprint really designates the distance that's there, right? So it's a shorter version of kind of the main event on Sunday. Again, we go into some of the details in later pages there. Once that race completes, it'd be a couple hours for that race and get through the awards for those participants there. Then we'd have a trail run, right? So a trail run is really just that, just a running race, right, through some of the trails that we have out there. The idea is that we'd utilize the same trails that we're using all weekend here, so we're not going over, again, more just from a management perspective, right? We can't have half a dozen different markings for different events, right? So we're going to repurpose a lot of the trails that we're using out there. Then shortly after lunchtime, we're going to have a kids race, right? Call it a kids off-road race, all right? So off-road's kind of loose terms there, right? So really what we've done in Whitensville and what we'd hope to do here is off-road being really grass, right? So all the fields, right, whether it's the football, baseball fields that are out there, we set up a course with some of the like the driveway markers and some caution tape, and have a run course and then a bike course and a run course again for the kids. And we have different age groups out there. These events are, the kids events are more participation oriented, right? So they're non-timed events, non-competitive. It's really get them out there, get them introduced to the sport, right? And give them a chance, right? I mean, a lot of kids are, maybe biking and running a little bit, but this really gives them a chance to kind of tie it all together and gives them a structured environment to do that. And then later that afternoon, again, in the greater Oxford area here, we would have the packet pickup process for the race on Sunday morning. So Sunday morning is really the key event of the whole weekend. So this is the off-road Xterra Triathlon. Again, starts at 8:30. And this would be the ones more in the point series rankings we talked about there. So this is really there's certain stipulations that Xterra puts on, having certain races that are out there. So we're looking at half-mile swim within Carbuncle Pond, 11-mile bike ride through the trail systems, and then between a 5 and 6 mile trail run. Right, so this is going to be anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours to complete for pretty serious athletes, right? So definitely not for the weekend warrior kind of event, person. So that's the high level right now. Any questions before we go into some more details?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Saturday, you plan on doing the all three of them things on Saturday.
Yes.
Are you gonna do the same thing on Sunday?
No, the three on Saturday, it's 8:30, we have the shorter distance race. 11 o'clock, we have the trail run, and 1 p.m., we have the kids run. On Sunday, it's just the Xterra Triathlon. So it's a longer distance than a sprint. It's almost double the distance from a sprint. So that's all we have on Sunday is just the Xterra Triathlon.
You have to do both days if you're doing this?
Nope, they're all, for the most part, you're going to have, one participant's, a person's going to choose one of these races. Right, so I really wouldn't expect that a person does all these races.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought triathlon was a swim, the bike and the running.
It is, yeah. So for the just take Saturday for the example there. So you may sign up for the sprint triathlon Saturday morning. You're going to do your swim, bike, and run. That's the triathlon,
Okay.
right? When you're done at 10 o'clock Saturday morning, you likely will not do the trail run at 11,
I see.
and you won't do the triathlon the next day as well either, right? So for the most part, these are it's enough taxing on the body, right, to do one of these events, right? People are done for this, but again, having the different distances in there for more the beginner, the novice, or just someone more the weekend warrior kind of type. The sprint is a doable distance they can get into. So the exterior ones are a little more serious, right? That's something that people are looking on the calendars now, a year out and getting ready to train for those kind of things.
Yes.
The question I had was, this is a rain or shine event?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter?
Yeah. Rain or shine event. We definitely work with the police and fire. If the water's unsafe, right, we're not going to hold swimming, right? So that's part of our contingency planning, right? So very, very common to have that. If the water's unsafe, we'll make everyone do a duathlon instead, which is a run, bike, run.
Okay.
Right. Then we're working very closely with the Army Corps of Engineers that if the trails are not suitable, right? I know there's been some flooding there in years past, right? So we'll have some, we'll avoid those sections, right? And if they say certain trails are shut down, those trails are shut down, right? So we'll have to kind of divert through there. So there's enough high level trails through there that we'll be able to get a race through there. It may just be a shortened race, maybe altered from what we have there, but that'll be part of our planning is kind of having those, working with them, knowing where the suspect areas are, and making sure we have a backup plan in place that we can execute that morning or leading up to it. So.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just wait till after.
Yes, go ahead.
So for the beneficiaries that we're looking at for this weekend, and we're just calling it French River Festival at this point. So we'd like to work with the French River Connection. So we've worked with them for the trail race that's been held. The trail running race has been held for a number of years over at Hodges there. So we'd like to continue that relationship with them. And we'd also, again, like to make a donation to the Recreation Commission as part of, by allowing us to kind of come into the town and use some of its resources here. Would like to make a donation after the race is done and the books are getting ready to get closed up on that to the commission. And working with the commission, we'll find a good project and see if we can tag a specific project that we'd have in mind to like to, pull some of the funds into as we get
projects.
yeah. So as we get later into the year, and possibly
Splash
February
pad, you
technically.
think?
Well, just the carbuncle bathhouse
Yeah,
itself.
that'd be nice.
The goal of really having this race and having it held here in Oxford is really to include as many local organizations as we can, right? Really try to make it a community event, right? So we get into that a little bit later on, right? But really bringing some of the local businesses in here, local vendors that their target audience is endurance athletes, right? So really get those guys involved and give them the platform that they can really get right in front of these people directly. All the races are sanctioned by the sports governing body, which is USA Triathlon, through an application process. So it's a very strict process. We certain standards we have to follow, certain qualifications we have to have in place as far as EMTs in place, a number of lifeguards on the water. There's a lifeguard to water, lifeguard to swimmer ratio that we have to follow. So strict process we follow through there. As part of being accepted and being sanctioned through USA Triathlon, this includes a comprehensive liability coverage, right? That everybody who participates that has anything to do with this weekend has to sign these waivers, right? From a participant point of view, so it's a requirement. Every participant has to sign one of these waivers to be covered under the USAT insurance policy. For participation across all events, we're looking at 500 people, right, throughout the whole weekend. So it's not 500 per event. Right, it's kind of 500 across the multiple adult races and kids races that we have there. So for any one race, I think 200 would be a very strong number. Right, so that's again, off-road isn't as mainstream as the road triathlons are. So I think 200 would be a very, very good number to have. Right, so that's kind of what we're doing from our planning perspective. And again, over the weekend too, we'd have close to 100 volunteers. Right, so it takes a lot of manpower to put these things on. When people show up to these races, they just they really expect to be catered to. Right, so we have tons of volunteers helping out at registration, in the trails, giving directions, at aid stations, all those kind of things. So Again, everyone's required to sign the waiver in order to participate there. And kind of running the whole weekend, right? Myself, I'm a certified USA Triathlon race director, and the staff that we have, right, it's all certified, well, not certified, right, but all experienced triathletes, athletes, and they've helped manage these events for me in the past. So, at the conclusion of the weekend, or even as the races go on throughout the weekend, we'll be sweeping the courses and the venues, right, just making sure everything's being clean, and we like to leave it cleaner than how we found it. Right, so we've gotten some feedback from some of the other races that we've done in some other towns, and that's just been the observations, right? It's that, you know, they think it's cleaner when we left than when we showed up. So we like to try to keep that going. As far as the atmosphere itself, and again, it's going to be really based at the Oxford High School section there. So we'd have a DJ type of music playing, right? So that way you have someone with the PA system out there to give the announcements, so racers can hear things that are going on. Certain, you're getting ready to start for a certain race, or as racers are finishing, announcing their names. Then we just have music going on as well too, for just kind of a good atmosphere there as well. And we'd have cater food that we mentioned from the Board of Health. We'd have to apply for those permits, but we'd have some sort of catering come in, right? Whether it's a barbecue type thing, or hamburgers, those kind of things, right? But typically participants get their catered meal as part of their entry fee into the whole race, and volunteers do as well too for helping out, right? And then usually for a spectator's family, there's a small fee that they would charge them, on site there. The sponsored vendor area that we mentioned there, right? So really would have, picture, kind of the 10 by 10 tents, right? The pop-up tents that are there. So that'd be around the main venue area there, around the carbuncle and the finish line, which is just south of the football field in that grassy area right there. So the vendors would be set up kind of there for the weekends, and again, really focusing on the local businesses, right? To helping them promote. So we can work with the Chamber of Commerce, or as there's different ideas from people in town, right? We'll definitely look, try to reach out to those local companies first, right? Give them an opportunity to come in and be a part of this, and again, right, just really, have their audience right in front of them for the whole weekend. As we work up to the race date itself, the end of June, we'll have some regular staff meetings with some of the key constituents that are on there. Timelines, tasks, status, all those sort of things. And then, as mentioned, we'll also have that tech review in February too. So here's a little more detail on the next two slides as far as what each of the events make up. So on the Saturday, the first event we kick off is that triathlon duathlon. As we mentioned earlier, it's a USAT sanctioned and insured event, and there's electronic timing, so all the participants have timing chips on their ankle. There's timing mats placed at several points around the venue area to kind of catch their splits, as we call them, so they know how long it took them to swim, how long it took them to get out of their wetsuit and get on their bike, how long it took them on the trails, vice versa, and then finally, once they cross the finish line, we get the final recording there. Start time would be at 8:30, and estimated finish time wrap up for this event is around 10:30. For the distances, it would be a quarter-mile swim, or we're talking about a 1 mile kayak, right? Kayak or stand-up paddleboard around Carbuncle there. For the duathlon, instead of starting with a swim, it would be roughly a 2 mile trail run through the trails in Hodges there, and before they come back and grab their mountain bikes. Mountain bikes would be a 6 mile trail throughout the trail system. Then the last leg for everybody would be roughly a 4 mile run through all the trails. And again, the finish line kind of being that grassy area just south of the football field there.
Can you get to that map?
Yes, so that map is
9.
on the last page, if you want
No,
to fast
page
forward.
9. That's it.
Yep, whoop. There we go.
And explain what's going on, because I think that this will be more helpful to everyone, and especially those folks at home who, rather than just the, numbers,
All right, all right.
okay?
So we'll start in the bottom right. So the triathlon is typically a swim, bike, run, events in that order. So we'd start with the swim on the beach itself.
That's with the red line.
In the red line in the bottom there.
How long is the swim?
For the Saturday's events, it's a quarter mile. Right. So this one may be the half mile route I have mapped out here right now, which is the distance it is on Sunday. So 2 different distances. So that's roughly where they would swim and how they would kayak and through there as well too for the
What's the
kayak
kayak?
portion. The kayak would be double that distance, right? So they may do 2 laps around that section. All the racers come back to the beach. You see the transition area there,
Yeah.
which is in that lower parking lot just beyond the beach, to the right of the bathhouse right now, if you're standing on the beach looking back. So that's where they, again, the transition area where they change from between different sports. Grab their mountain bikes and they follow the blue path. They kind of hop on the road real quickly, and then there's a trail entrance in the back side of the high school.
Yeah.
So they enter the trail system from there, and then they continue on the trails, going through some of the trail systems, and they also come back the same. So that's kind of for the bike, that's the same in and out access area.
This is all on core land, right?
Yes. So once the bikers come back to the transition area, rack their bikes up, they head out on the run, which kind of follows the sidewalk, general pathway there, around the northeast side of the school, around the kind of back side of the cemetery there, and then there's another entrance into the trail system, just in the back side of the cemetery. So again, that drops you right back into all the core land as well too. The run portion follows more the northern side of the trail system, through Greenbrier, some of those sections where the mountain biking is, for the most part, the southern part of the trail system.
I have a question on the yellow arrows going around the cemetery area. I'm trying to visualize the back end of the town cemetery, and I believe that there's a chain link fence
Yes.
that goes.
That protects the cemetery from that
Texas-
grassy area?
Yes.
So these arrows are outside of that chain link fence. So we almost follow the chain link fence line.
So you're not in the
You're not in-
cemetery?
No, we're not in the cemetery, we're outside the cemetery.
Okay, because there's, looking at this map, and Mr. Manager, maybe you can help me out, but I thought there was a green area between the main entrance into the cemetery and the forest, which is unused cemetery property. And I don't see that up there,
That's out on Main Street? No?
the backside of the
On the
cemetery.
backside too?
There is grave sites that haven't been sold. It's just barren land, it's grass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I
what,
think
that's
he
what I'm
shows that, and
seeing.
then it drops off to the, wooded area, probably wetland.
It's all, it's part of the
Fence.
the core property.
All right, the fence goes to the backside. See all this green in here where the yellow arrows are? That's cemetery property. And the fence is right at the edge of the green.
I think the fence follows the road line there, Park Ave.
Could you get up and show what you think on the screen there?
So I believe the chain link fence section goes right around here,
Along the road?
along the road.
No, it doesn't.
No, I don't think so.
I'm familiar with this area.
Well, I know we're outside, I know we're not in the chain link fence area at all, so we're saying.
This is the main entrance coming into the cemetery, and this is the back portion of the cemetery. This road beyond here is grass, a grassy area,
Yes.
all this area here, and that's for future burial sites. The fence is over here.
Does the fence stop at some point going north?
The fence
Your
is-
arrow should be closer to the trees,
Yeah, the arrow should be
much
over here,
closer to the trees.
because the
than-
fence is right here,
Okay.
right?
Yes, you are correct, and that's where his arrow should be, it should be over.
So we're
to the left side.
outside the fence.
What you're showing is where you're running through the cemetery.
Ex-
That's what-
Exactly, those arrows are in the wrong spot, they should be over to the left.
Okay.
So we're not going in the cemetery.
I know there's people out there
The
that are
scale.
watching this
People are
presentation,
dying
and
to get
they,
in there.
Yeah, so we more should, the arrows
they
should be
know that
more
area.
hugging the tree line.
Right.
And then we go in there.
Because you're going on the trails,
Yes,
so you would be down near the tree line.
yes. Again, that's both the ingress and egress for the trail running that section there.
When you, go back, on the blue trail, That trail, in fact, when we built the high school, we intended to have recreation fields in what we call our Rocky Hill Road pit. And we had to do a little land swap so that we could get that where the trail jumped onto somebody else's land. Did a swap on that corner, so the trail would get down there. So now the question becomes, are you going through the town land? As I asked you specifically if you're on core land all the way.
I know we're accessing the trails right at the edge of the school there, right? So there may be a portion of it
Because we
that's
have
considered
activities going on
town land,
at the pit
but we're not near the
on
pit.
Saturdays. Okay, we want to make sure you're not. We don't want to have that interference.
What type of activity would be down there, and would they be using that trail?
It's
Okay.
that's where we put the brush and
People do the yard sweepings and
composting.
compost, they bring this stuff down there on Saturdays.
I we'll coordinate that, better.
Okay. All right, so we'll go back up to the couple of slides to page 5. The trail run right in the middle. So the trail run, again, it's not a triathlon, it's a trail run, right? So RRCA, which is Road Runners Club of America, that's the affiliation that we have, and that's who ensures the run races that we do. This will also be electronic timing as well. Starting at 11 a.m. and estimated finish time about 12:30. So we'd offer 2 different distances here, both the 5-mile and 11-mile courses. All right, again, really just repurposing what we're using for the triathlon run and bike portions for the weekend. Last one is the kids duathlon, starting at 1 o'clock. This is a USAT sanctioned event, as well as insured through there. Again, more participatory in nature, not timed. The course will be marked around the playing fields of the high school. And usually distances are based on age. We usually have 2 different age groups, usually 6 to 10 and then 10 to 15, or 11 to 15 is usually how we break the age groups up. So the run would be around 1/4 mile for the younger kids, followed by a 1-mile bike ride, and concluding with a 1/4 mile run. And for the older kids, it's roughly double that, right? So it's almost 2 laps worth.
Utilizing the school fields? Yes?
Yes.
You're saying that you want to use the school fields?
That's what we'd like to do for the kids' event, yes.
Okay. That would need to go through the school department, I believe.
Yes.
Just to make sure that there's no events. There may not be events going on up there for the schools, but there may be league events going on up there through the town who has
Okay.
to apply through the schools. The Recreation Commission does not have jurisdiction over the school fields. So,
We better hope we don't have a lot of snow this year, because I could see graduation being that weekend.
oh, I hope not.
No way.
No way, not that late?
Not
that late.
Not for
No?
graduation.
No?
Graduation, no.
No.
They leave early?
May.
Oh, yeah.
They're in May.
They're in May.
That would be the athletic.
Mid-May. they
Oh, right,
graduate.
that's right, they don't,
It's usually Memorial Day weekend.
Right, yeah.
oh, okay, and you're what, end of June?
Yes. So hopefully there's not that
We're
much
in
snow.
school, we're in school then, we're in big trouble.
I know.
That means we've got still
Close
snow on the
summer
ground.
program.
On slide 6, it talks about the Xterra Triathlon itself, right? So again, this is more the kind of marquee event of the weekend here. USAT sanctioned, insured, and timed. Starting at 8:30 again. This one's going to be estimated finish time at 11:30, right? So again, much longer race, so it's going to be dragged out a little bit more. The swim's 1/2-mile course within the pond. Mountain bike is 11 miles through the dams, trails, finishing up with a 5.5-mile trail run.
Is that typical triathlon?
For the Xterra class races, yes. They have distance minimums as well as time minimums on it. So this meets all their distance minimums, and another just because figure across the country, right? Every mountain bike trail is a little different difficulty, right? So they don't want, just to make sure there's a really, high level, a challenging race out there, they don't want the winners finishing in less than 90 minutes. Right, so that's where we have to kind of go out there and kind of gauge our own experience on
All
these
three
trails.
events?
Yeah, the combined, they don't want, the combined event, they don't want people finishing within 90 minutes.
We don't have to go into this much
No.
detail. I really don't care, to be honest with you. I mean, you're running it, it's your show, not ours.
Maybe we'll see you guys out there, right?
So you have a safety plan you're submitting?
Joe, would you kindly, from now on, please go through the chair?
I'm sorry,
This
Mr.
meeting
Chairman.
is getting out of hand. My board members go through me. I expect you to go through me.
My apologies, sir.
Accepted. Go ahead. You have the floor.
No, thank you. I just wanted to help him summarize the pages. I agree with you to get through.
All right, so we'll try to hit on these key points real quickly here. For the safety plan, we'll work jointly with the fire and police departments as well as the rangers in the park to make sure we have everything covered. Contingency plans, emergency plans. We have on-water portions, we have trail portions, communication plans in place, two-way radios, making sure everything's covered from that perspective.
Mr. Vos, you had a question?
You know, you're going over all this with our public safety people, right? I mean, I think as long as they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. I don't know that we need to. I'm not speaking for the whole board, but myself, I'm convinced you have everything, you get your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and you spoke about liability and police and fire are on board, and you're gonna be paying for their services, trash receptacles, clean up your handling net, any damage that may occur on town property, you'll take care of that. Liability, we got that squared away, so I have no problem with this use, and I'll make them.
I don't either, and I think that the town manager, if he's satisfied that our obligations as a community have been met, as far as the Board of Health, the, public safety, fire. I mean, as far as the operation itself, I mean, you've done enough of these where
Right, right,
I'm sure you know what you're doing.
right.
And as long as you get the proper approval from the school committee, and, she makes a good point here. There may be some leagues that will have to be notified in advance that you have that weekend, so they're gonna have to do some reshuffling. But that, you'll have to go through the school department on.
Right, yeah, we'll speak of that offline.
Yes.
You said it's not gonna cost anything to enter into these things? There's no cost? Or-
No, everyone pays a registration fee.
I mean, how much is that?
So it varies based on the event and the time of when it is too, right? So it could range from anywhere from, the low end being, I think, $10 or $15 for the kids duathlon, all the way up to day of registration for the Xterra being $120.
Oh, for the Saturday, the triathlon for the adults Saturday.
Yep.
How much is that?
So anywhere between, probably between $50 and $75.
15 and 75?
50 and 75. Again, based on the timing of it, when things open up.
How's that? Any other questions? Concerns? Mr. Manager?
I'm gonna try to get in shape for this.
I'll be right behind you.
I want to be there to see that.
And I think a lot of it's to it. Definitely a lot of detail here, but wanted to be more of an open book with you guys, and it is a major event, right? That goes on. A lot goes into it, right? So it is big for us putting it on, big for the participants there, and it can be a big event for the community as well too, right? So that's why we really want to try and make it a big event for everybody.
I will entertain a motion to go along with it pending them getting all the necessary approvals for everybody that's involved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have fun.
Stacy, thank you for coming in. I think that was the smallest in the budget.
I was
Okay, managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have meeting minutes. Request the board vote to approve meeting minutes of September 10th, 2013. All members were present. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion. to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Some of you will recall that Santa Claus usually drops by around the end of November. We've had a request from Mr. Hank Lamountain on behalf of Steve Anderson for permission to close Depot Road on November 28th from 5:30 PM to 8:30 PM to allow for the annual arrival of Santa Claus. Pleasure of the board.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion? Yes.
They've done this every year?
He didn't do it last year, and in the year before, his wife had passed and he didn't do it. But he has been doing this for years.
It's the first time
And
I've heard of it.
now he's bringing it back again. But it is something he does for the neighborhood and the children in town to view the lights. And we've approved it every time he's requested it, and the police haven't had an issue with it.
I think it's the first time I've heard about it.
Yeah.
So I,
Oh, see that, you learn something new every day, Alan.
Now you can take your kids there and view it. Any other questions or concerns? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Sean Dival, or the DPW Director Dival was here earlier this evening, and I did get some information from him about the next item, which is a request for a Go Children Slow sign on Old Depot Road. The board's in receipt of a request from Ms. Denise Marks to install such a sign at Old Depot Road near the intersection with Main Street. She provided documentation from Mr. Dival, DPW Director, regarding a study that had been completed reflecting the average speed was 17 miles per hour in the neighborhood. Ms. Marks is concerned because when people are being monitored, they slow down, but when the speed signs are removed, traffic speeds are significantly increased. Ms. Marks is frustrated, has reached out to the board in an effort to have a sign installed. I believe she accepts that the rate of travel on that piece of road, if you're familiar with Old Depot Road, it's not one of our best shaped roads, so it's difficult to go overly fast anyway, but she has a concern, wants the sign. Pleasure of the board to install the sign.
It's open for discussion.
If I
Yes.
may, I travel that road a lot. You got a stop sign, the four-way stop there at, I don't know what that street is, right there at the corner.
Depot and O Depot?
Is that, oh, yeah.
There's that's Depot Road.
Right, and then you got that short distance till you get to Main Street.
And there's a stop sign there.
I don't see how you're going so fast in that area. I travel that a lot. I mean, man, I can't see myself going over 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour in that area. I don't know. I don't know how we, here we're talking about trying to decrease the number of signs. I just personally don't feel a sign is going to slow people down. I think signs there, great, it's not going to do anything, but that's my opinion. I think it's kind of senseless.
How does this fall into our policy, Mr. Manager?
The
We just approved.
It's, the DPW director has had several conversations with Ms. Marks about this and did a speed study on the road to determine when I reported the 17 miles per hour was the average, that's based on recent measurements that we've done. And we've done them discreetly. It's not like a police cruiser with a radar gun. This was done with the traffic counter tubes that also measure speed of vehicles. The highest was the 85th percentile was about 22 miles per hour. So technically we could legally post 20 miles per hour, but not with the information we have. We'd have to do a more detailed study first, which is rather costly. And that's the report I have from Director Dival.
Yes,
Chair, this is in front of Clara Barton, correct, that she's concerned about?
it's the area, if you're coming from 395, it's past the Clarabotton School,
Yeah.
going towards Route 12.
I believe she thinks that it's speedy when the people are dropping off their kids and picking them up to get out of there.
No, my understanding is she wants it down at the end near Main Street, which is pretty much an exit only. There's no entrance of vehicles there.
There's no entrance.
Huh?
People can't enter there?
No, we
No.
haven't, no, do not enter.
The one
That was to avoid people taking the shortcut to
Oh, that's
avoid.
right, yeah, okay.
And there's a stop sign right there, right? Isn't there a stop
Yeah,
sign?
there's
Stop
gotta
sign.
be a
Yeah.
stop
Stop
sign.
sign.
with-
Stop
that-
sign
Isn't
or-
that where the hairdresser is too?
Yes.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the end of Old Depot Road.
Right.
There's no trucking and no enter, exit only.
Yes, Mr. Vos?
What was Sean's recommendation? Does he feel as though there's a need to have a,
He, based on his study, he felt that there wasn't a need.
There is no need for it.
and I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, so is the board prepared to make a motion to go along with the DPW director's recommendation,
Not to put a sign
not to
up.
put a sign after the most recent study?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
And then that's a no.
It's a no.
Winter parking ban, it was cool this evening. Request the board vote to approve a winter parking ban effective December 1, 2013 through April 1, 2014. The on-street parking is prohibited between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. The parking ban will also take effect when there is an accumulation of 3 or more inches of snow, day or night, even if it's before December 1st. 15-minute parking is allowed for postal and package delivery. Pleasure of the board to approve the winter parking ban for effective December 1.
I'll entertain a motion to
So
approve
moved.
the parking ban. It's been
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes.
So if there's no snow, let's say it's December 5th, December 12th, there's no snow, you cannot park between 11 and why?
That's correct.
At 11 and 6,
Why?
in case it snows.
In case, okay.
But if there's 3 inches of snow on the ground, you can't park.
No matter what time.
No matter what time, correct.
Okay. All right, we'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Thank you. We have a bunch of things that, end-of-the-year items we have to take care of. Common victular licenses for 2014. Request the board vote to renew the common victular licenses. This is for food. For 2014, contingent upon approval of the Board of Health, the payment of the license fee, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and payment of all taxes. I have a list. I think you all do
I
too.
have a list. I'm going to read the names, and then at the end, we can vote it as a block. Is that okay? All right.
What about abstentions? How are you gonna
Okay, if somebody wants to abstain to a certain one of these,
abstain as you're going through the list?
just abstain as you're going through the list.
Okay.
And the clerk will make note of who's abstaining for which, okay? All right. Andine Enterprises, LLC, DBA Zink's Fun Factory. Barton Center for Diabetes Education, Big Eyes, Inc. Barragram's Grill and Dairy Bar. Capricorn Corporation, DBA Whistle Stop.
Abstain.
CGT Inc., DBA Dunkin' Donuts, Dairy Express, Days End Tavern Inc., DBA Days End Tavern,
Abstain.
DDJ Inc., DBA Dunkin' Donuts, Joe's Diner Inc., Oxford Restaurant, LaValle Enterprises, DBA Pizza Post, MKT Investments Inc., DBA Happy Gardens, N&J Donuts, NEP Inc., DBA Route 56 Roadside Bar and Grill, NU Central Mass Auto Auction LLC, Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras Oxford, VFW Post 5663, P&D Oxford House of Pizza, Carl's Oxford Diner, Periwinkle's Pub and Restaurant, DBA Anthony's Italian Grill, Pine Ridge Country Club, DBA Pine Ridge Country Club,
Abstain.
Sandalwood Nursing Home, Celia Cop, DBA McDonald's Restaurant, Singletary Rod and Gun Club, Southside Convenience Store, Storico Inc., DBA Honeybee Farms, TNS Inc., DBA Subway, The Original Clam Box of Auburn, Inc., Marco Enterprises, Inc., DBA Veranda Cafe, Veterans Council, Inc., the American Legion, William Helfin, DBA Subway, Oxford High School, Oxford Little League, Oxford Middle School, Huguenot Arms Tenants Association. Pleasure of the board.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I'm also going to abstain from Big Eyes as well.
Okay.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Thank you. Class 1 licenses, this is for the sale of new motor vehicles. There are 3 of those. You have it, good. Okay, I'll read the rest of this. Request the board vote to approve the Class 1 licenses for 2014 contingent upon payment of license, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, they are AJEC Engineering Corporation, Smith Equipment Corporation, CRW Corporation, DBA Woods CRW. Pleasure.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, carries.
Class 2 licenses. Request the board vote to approve the Class 2 licenses for 2014, contingent upon payment of license, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and a bond, as well as payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, it's Cars Sales, Inc., Auto Ranch, Bonnet's Automotive, D&P Auto Sales, Farah Auto Body, Dudley Diesel Services, G&P Enterprises, Chagru Auto Sales, Max Motor Sales, NU Central Mass Auto Auction, Oxford Auto Sales, TNT Auto Sales, Reggie's, Robbins Motor Sales, Town Line Auto,
Abstain.
Your Auto Expert, M&M Auto Body, West Park Sales, Two Jacks Auto Sales, CT Auto Sales, Frontline Motor Sales, Haas Inc., and Ramita Petroleum. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Class 3 licenses. Request the board vote to approve the Class 3 licenses for 2014, contingent upon payment of license, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
They are St. Germain Auto Wrecking, Farah Used Auto Parts, Star Hill Used Auto Parts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
We have closing privileges for 2014. Request the board vote to, this is for liquor licenses. Request the board vote to approve the 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. closing privileges for liquor establishments for 2014. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, they are Edward J. Carteret, Manager, Veterans Council, Inc., American Legion, 2 a.m. closing.
opening.
and 11 a.m. opening. Next is Miss Gina L. Velatico, manager of Periwinkle's Pub, DBA Anthony's Grill, Southbridge Road, North Oxford, 2 a.m. closing privilege. Richard S. Hero, manager Days End Tavern, Inc.,
Abstain.
and that's a 2 a.m. closing privilege. Mr. David E. Knoll, manager NEP Inc., DBA 56 Roadside Bar and Grill, 2 a.m. closing. Edward M. O'Toole, manager Oxford Post 5663 Veterans of Foreign Wars, 1 a.m. closing privilege. Robert W. Downs, manager Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras, Oxford, 2 a.m. closing. Singletary Rod and Gun Club, Mr. Stephen Schroeder, manager, 300 Sutton Ave, 1 a.m. closing, 11 a.m. opening. Kenneth Duquette, manager, Pine Ridge Country Club, 28 Pleasant Street, North Oxford, 1 a.m. closing,
Abstain.
11 a.m. opening. Mr. Kenneth N.G. MKT Investments, Inc., DBA Happy Gardens, 1 a.m. closing, 11 a.m. opening. Susan M. Gallant, manager, Kransker, Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern, 314 Main Street, 2 a.m. closing privilege. Miss Tina M. Bentley, manager, Capricorn Corporation, DBA Whistle Stop Bar and Grill, 2 a.m. closing privilege.
Abstain.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries.
We have alcohol licenses for 2014. Request the board vote to approve the, excuse me, the alcohol licenses for 2014 contingent upon payment of license fee, proof of workers' compensation, and liquor liability insurance, a successful 110 inspection, that's the occupancy inspection, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, these are alcohol licenses, full pouring. MKT Investments, DBA Happy Garden, Joe's Diner, Inc., DBA Oxford Restaurant, Days End Tavern, Inc., DBA Days End Tavern.
Abstain.
NEP Inc., DBA Route 56 Roadside Bar and Grill. Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras, Oxford. Periwinkle's Pub and Restaurant Inc., DBA Anthony's Italian Grill. Pine Ridge Country Club, DBA Pine Ridge Country Club.
Abstain.
Kranska Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Capricorn Corporation, DBA Whistle Stop Bar and Grill.
Abstain.
Okay, and the following are clubs with full pouring. Oxford Post 5663, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Singletary Rod and Gun Club, Veterans Council, Inc., American Legion. And then we have the wine and malt beverage pouring, the original Clambox Auburn, DBA Clambox, Dairy Express, Marco Enterprises, DBA Veranda Cafe and Pizza. And then all kinds of alcoholic beverage package store. Low and Isufi Inc., DBA Hometown Wine and Liquor. Pinel Inc., DBA Oxford Package Store. ENT Inc., DBA Oxford Shell.
Abstain.
And next is the wine and malt beverage package stores. 732 Express, Honey Farms Inc., Randall Convenience Inc., DBA Southside Convenience Store. Sun Beer and Wine, Ashley M. Plus, DBA Route 12 Variety. Amog Farms Inc., DBA Bismart.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 absent, motion carries.
We now have weekday entertainment licenses. Excuse me. Request the board vote to approve the weekday entertainment licenses for 2014, contingent upon payment of license fee, proof of workers' compensation, insurance, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
They are. Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern.
Yep, plenty.
Wait a minute,
Yeah, you're in the,
you're in the wrong one.
I'm in the wrong.
yeah, weekday.
Weekdays.
Yeah,
Did we do the Sundays yet?
No, we-
Not yet.
keeping you on your toes, John.
Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, we have Capricorn Corporation, DBA Whistle Stop.
Abstain.
Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Joe's Diner Inc., DBA Oxford Restaurant. Days End Tavern, DBA Days End.
Abstain.
NEP Inc., DBA Route 56 Roadside Bar and Grill. Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras. Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras. Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 5663. Once again, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 5663. Periwinkle's Pub and Restaurant, DBA Anthony's Italian Grill. Pine Ridge Country Club, DBA Pine Ridge Country.
Abstain.
Singletary Rod and Gun Club. Singletary Rod and Gun Club again. Veterans Council, Inc., Veterans Council, Inc. again. And there's, the reason they're twice is because there's two separate license numbers. MKT Investments, Inc., DBA Happy Garden Restaurant.
So moved.
Second.
Pleasure of the board. Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, vote?
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative. Motion
Did I
carries.
miss Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Sunday entertainment licenses. Request the board vote to approve the Sunday entertainment licenses for 2014 contingent upon payment of the license fee, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
They are as follows. Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Days End Tavern, DBA Days End Tavern.
Abstain.
Veterans of Foreign Wars. Omega National Inc., DBA Mardi Gras. Periwinkle's Pub and Restaurant, DBA Anthony's Italian Grill. Singletary Rod and Gun Club. Pine Ridge Country Club.
Abstain.
Whistle Stop Bar and Grill.
Abstain.
Veterans Council, DBA American Legion. NEP Inc., DBA Route 56 Bar and Grill.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. That'd be 4 in the affirmative, 1 no. Motion carries.
Okay, automatic amusement licenses. Request the board vote to approve the automatic amusement licenses for 2014, contingent upon payment of the license fee, proof of workers' compensation insurance, and payment of taxes. Pleasure of the board.
They are as follows. Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Once again, Kransker Inc., DBA Oxford Tavern. Days End, DBA Days End Tavern.
Abstain.
And once again, Days End Tavern, DBA Days End Tavern.
Abstain once again.
Yay.
Might want to just
Okay.
read the
I'm
license
I'm
numbers
just gonna
off.
do this. NEP Inc., DBA Route 56 Roadside Bar and Grill, license number 1327 and 28. Oxford VFW, license 1329 and 1330. Singletary Rod and Gun Club, license number 1331, 1332, and 1333. Veterans Council, American Legion, license number 1334, 1335, 36, 37, and 38. P&D, Oxford House of Pizza, license 1339, 40, 41, and 42.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Being none, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Okay, reasons for bypass. The Civil Service requires the board publicly vote its reasons for bypassing a candidate, and that a letter be sent to the candidate which contains those reasons and advises him or her of their 60-day appeal period. We have a letter that's attached to this report, which I can read if you care to. But basically, we need the board to vote this reason to the candidate who was passed over or bypassed. Is this a candidate for appointment to the position of permanent intermittent police officer who has a lower ranking on the civil service list than you was appointed? The reason the board bypassed you is that you do not have any public safety or criminal justice background in either through education or employment. By comparison, the lower ranking candidate who was selected has more than 2 years of experience as a permanent intermittent in another municipality and has served as a full-time police dispatcher for more than 2 years. The board believes the other candidate's background and experience also demonstrates a greater commitment to the field of law enforcement. I believe that summarizes fairly summarizes your decision for picking a candidate who was lower ranked than another. Pleasure of the board.
I would entertain a motion to allow the chairman to sign the letter that would be addressed to the unsuccessful candidate.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, motion carries.
Okay.
Should he also have them vote those reasons
Would you
that were
vote those
read into
reasons
the
for the
record?
bypass?
Yeah.
The reasons that were read into the record for the bypass.
I thought that's what we were
Yeah.
voting on.
Right.
You asked for, to allow the chairman to sign the letter. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, to sign
The
that
letter, that
particular,
letter.
that he just,
That he just read it.
right, which is those reasons, so.
Okay.
My apologies it's taking so long. We just have a few more things. Reasons for bypass was done. I have some quick announcements. Academy Training Officer Aquafresca, who was appointed as a full-time police officer, will begin the full-time police academy in Boylston on January 13th. His anticipated graduation is June of 2014. There's a notice to local business owners, healthcare reform, and your company. Senator Richard T. Moore is hosting an event about healthcare reform and changes that will affect you and your business. The event is at Nichols College in Dudley at Daniels Auditorium on Monday, November 18th. A continental breakfast will be served beginning at 7:30 a.m. The discussion will begin promptly at 8. If you have any questions, you can contact the local Chamber of Commerce. That's the Oxford Dudley Webster Chamber of Commerce at 508-943-9700, extension 224. And again, we have a annual announcement about Operation Care Package. This is the Harrington Insurance Agency sponsors the Operation Care Package, a holiday project created by the late Oxford Selectman David Bigwood to remember our servicemen and women at Christmas time. Mr. Bigwood always felt strongly that servicemen and women should receive something from home during the holidays as a sign of our appreciation. Then that would include, they're requesting donations, lotions, wipes, appropriate magazines, creams, batteries, snacks, calling cards, telephone calling cards, toothbrushes, toothpaste, soaps, pencils, pens, stationery, movies, gum, etc. Holiday greeting cards are also welcome. You can bring your donated items to Harrington Insurance Agency, 489 Washington Street, Suite 205 in Auburn. The building was formerly Auburn Racket Club. If you prefer to make a monetary donation, you can make your check payable to Oxford Servicemen's Fund and mail it or drop it off at the Harrington Insurance Agency address at the same address noted above. Our drop-off deadline is December 5th, and you can contact Lynn Bigwood Walker at 508-536-5294 for more information We will also have, this is a lot of information, we'll have this posted on the Access channel as well. And that completes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Selectmen's request. Yes.
Thank you. Well, I just want to apologize to our local veterans for not showing up at the parade yesterday. I guess the parade started a little early, so by the time I got here, it was just about over. So I did have a speech prepared, and I was planning on marching, but I just wanted to apologize. And thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Voigt's all set. Mr. Berthium?
Yes, all set.
Jared's all set. And I'm all set. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes.